I was at a Yale Club meeting in Boston, 2011, I think, and the guest was Janet Wu, and she was a TV person. She's, I guess, a Yale graduate, and she was a TV talking head locally, and I think some national news or whatever. And she was up there, and at that point, it was right after Tahrir Square, Egypt, and Lara Logan, I think Australian anyway, journalist, she was groped and raped in Tahrir Square. She was reporting. She was surrounded by
Yeah.
an enclave of Egyptian men, and she was molested and passed around and all that kind of stuff. And nobody really denies this happened. And I think some of it was caught on video. And Janet Wu had this thought bubble during the kind of Q&A part. She was asked about women journalists and whatnot, and she said, "Well, I don't know why she even," but her thought bubble was like, "Well, that's not really a hate crime because she's white and they're Muslim."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I kind of interceded, like, did you really just say that? I mean, you're like all this, intersectionality is crazy stuff. Like, she's a woman, she's looking out for women journalists, she wants more women journalists, all that kind of stuff. But it clearly is some vulnerabilities to be a woman journalist. You're applying your own set of standards that maybe work in New York City in 2011, and maybe in certain other places in the UK. But you went to Egypt, and you're kind of, as you mentioned, kind of going up against the Iron Age standards and whatnot of women as property and so forth. And it's like, I mean, in their context, maybe there was no crime. Maybe there, according to the Muslim Brotherhood, leadership at the time, there's no crime per se. She was exposing herself and so forth. But to have Janet Wu adopt that, and this is kind of like, I think, exactly, or it's redolent of what's happening in the UK, or had been happening even back then.